Hello guys, this is UniversalGiant and welcome back for more of Let's Play Pokémon SoulSilver. Last time, we finished off all of the gym leader rematches, and today, we're going to be heading back to Ecruteak City. Because in here is one of the few legendaries that we have yet to catch in this game. Specifically, the one that's on the box art of HeartGold. And if you remember, we've actually been here a couple of times, most recently to get Morty's phone number. I think it was standing over here or something. But, since we have the badge, we can make our way to Bell Tower, formerly known as Tin Tower in the Game Boy days. But now that we picked up the Rainbow Wing from the old man in Pewter City, this guy's going to finally allow us to ascend the tower. And this is where we go about catching the legendary Ho-Oh. Now, the only two Pokemon you can run into in this tower are Rattata and Ghastly if it's nighttime, both of which I have no interest in running into, so I'm going to put up a Repel. And this is one of the more notable areas, at least for me, because it was the first area in this style game that I actually ran into some trouble getting through with the puzzles. Particularly these step jumps. I think they're really, really neat, even though they make a lot of these rooms pretty tricky to navigate through. I still think they're pretty neat, even to this day, and it's difficult to see where the jump is over there, but you just gotta feel your way around it. And as we make our way further up, yeah, they're gonna get a little bit more complicated. I'm not sure where all of the items are. I'm probably gonna be going through a couple of these areas more than once just to make sure I catch everything. Although, I don't think there's anything too important for us to pick up in here like a TM or something. Most of these ladders that we come across in this room are ways for us to get back if we mess up in the floor above. Just get used to hearing that jumping sound. An escape rope may be helpful. I haven't anticipated whether or not we're actually going to use it. I still want to get that item over there. This ladder up here is how we progress. I'd like to see what that item is, though. Probably should have gone this way first. Didn't think about it. I went the wrong way. Oh boy, it doesn't take longer than a couple of seconds to run back. It just takes a couple of seconds to put another repel up. You know, I'm also curious to see what Krako has to say in here. I never mentioned this. The item that your Pokemon may be holding is dependent on where in the world you are. And you can get a surprisingly interesting number of items from your Pokemon just by talking to them in the right place. I have no idea what the Whitebeard looks like, but I guarantee that's the first time I've ever picked one up. So, if you're into the dress up your Pokemon thing, I suppose that's a thing you could be into, although I don't know if anybody's legitimately interested in that. I know I'm not, so you're probably not going to see it from me. But, it's still neat to a lot of these little details that you never really look into because they aren't worth looking into. But still, it's neat that they're there. I know that jump is the one that we want to make. I'm not sure what else is around here, though. So let's see. You know for a fact that the ladder in that corner is going to lead us to a place we don't want to go because we were already there. And that's the way for us to go back. So I know that isn't the correct way. Unfortunately, in order to pick up this rare candy, you're going to have to backtrack all the way back there. So if you want to get everything in here, it is going to take you a couple of passes, but I mean, if you want a rare candy, it's certainly worth it. I don't like using rare candies. Early on in the game, it doesn't make sense to, because it's easier for you to gain experience to level up. But also, you miss out on the effort values that you get for beating other Pokemon if you just level them up with rare candies. And I know the game at least hints to it at some point, but never explicitly tells you. At least it didn't in the original games. So which way do we want to go? Good question. I'm pretty sure the ladder in the bottom left is one that we could have taken earlier. I'm not sure if there's an item for us there, though. I think that just leads back. So this is the ladder that we want to take forward. And I believe this is where things start getting a little bit more interesting. Whereas up until now, we've just had to deal with the ladders. I want to say there's an item over here, too. How do I remember this bell tower so well? I'm also not sure why they decided to rename it Bell Tower instead of Tin Tower. I kind of like the Tin Tower. But this is where we start getting into the teleporter shenanigans, and this is where I get completely lost, because I have no idea which goes to where. Max Revive is certainly worth picking up, though. So at this point, the puzzle's relatively easy from here, because there are only so many warps for you to go, despite how confusing it may look at first glance. But I just don't remember which ones go to which, so it may take a minute or so longer than it should. Vitamins are always nice, even though they're completely useless to us at this point. I may wind up skipping an item or something, because I think we may be going the correct direction, to some extent. Watch me pick up everything on the way there unintentionally. But I don't think it'll be too much longer of a walk up to Ho-Oh, at least not as long as it took us to get down to Lugia, from what I remember. Maybe I spent more time than I needed to actually... Hear how nice and quiet the music is getting over here? You can even hear the swaying of the center of the tower here. Listen to the swaying of the pole. You know we're close. Very, very close. And up here is the signature legendary of Gold and HeartGold versions. And what I believe to be the best music track in the entire game. Really? The instant I decide to check Twitter is when I catch it. Really? Okay, I guess that works. I'll check it later. 50 minutes, I think? I completely lost track. Hello! Oh boy! Another one who I caught in Spirit Gold, which means I have to manually check its Pokédex entry. Legend says its body glows in 7 colors. A rainbow is said to follow from behind when it flies. And I believe this was the first Pokemon you would see in the anime, too, at the very beginning, before you even knew there was going to be a second game. But I believe he's got himself some fancy kind of hold item, so I'll meet you at the PC so we can check it. Because Ho-Oh will always be carrying his own set of Sacred Ash. And if you remember, this item is like a max revive for your entire team. We've already picked up one of these things from one of Oak's aids and one of the Kanto routes, I forget which. And to those of you complaining that I finally decided to use Dusk Balls because I was just sick of trying for no reason to catch it in a Pokeball, we caught Lugia in one of them too. It only seemed reasonable. But there are his stats. Why did I go after him? Because he's going to be useful in the next episode! Oh boy, segues! This is UniversalGiant, and I'll meet you guys in the Ruins of Alph next time, when we finally finish off the Unknown side quest. Okay, second time we can try to use Thunder Wave, because Safeguard ran out. Fudgesicles. Oh, hi, Anthony! It's been a while since I've got... Wait a minute. Oh, you're just calling to brag about your shiny haul and the fact that I didn't get one, right? Yeah, real classy, Anthony. Thanks. I feel so much better about myself right now.